Okay, Darius, we're live. All right, welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's Next Super Stock, a live stream, March 5th, 2021. We're back with FansUnite, Darius Ekdami. Darius, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
Darius, we're going through this like roller coaster. We started with you at 35 cents in September. Stock was what, two and change last week. We're back into the buy zone here in the dollar range as all stocks are going through this little roller coaster. But I think you got some very interesting things happening right now where it's amazing. Like right now, you put out the news about you applied for the UK gaming license, right?
Yeah, we did that. We put that out a couple days ago. Yeah.
Okay, and I want to kind of get into that. What does it mean for the company? Like, what's the path like for this? Because look, we're looking for these. Our goal is for the not the 10 baggers. We're looking for the 100 bagger stocks. So I want to kind of lay out the path. Like, what's the path for this thing to be right now? A $10 stock. Can FansUnite get to $10? Let's call it in the next 18 months. I mean, we started at 35, whatever. But can this be a $10 stock? Some of the other high-flying gaming stocks, we've seen DraftKings, we've seen all these other guys. So first, the UK gaming. What is this going to do for FansUnite? What is this going to do for the company long term?
Yeah, it's big. There's a lot of work that goes kind of behind the scenes on these applications when you apply for gaming licenses, and the UKGC is highly regarded as the gold standard for gaming licenses. So we wanted to make sure we put in a very, very strong application. It was months of work to get that in. So we're pretty excited we're getting it in. It's now in the hands of the commission. They're probably going to come back with some questions, but we're ready for those. UKGC, again, opens up the door to a huge gambling market out there. We're applying for 2 licenses, a B2C license as well as a B2B. That way we can be a software supplier in the UK market, potentially be software supplier to our own assets, right, which is going to be very strong. That allows us to be scalable in the US, in the UK market, save our own assets, tremendous amount of money if they're operating on other people's tech, and then be able to service the entire market in the UK. And it's one of the largest markets in the entire world. So big.
So how big is where does it rank? Like, how big is the UK betting market?
It's one of the biggest and one of the oldest, right? So that's why the UKGC is regarded as the gold standard for licensing. So once you get the UKGC license, for us as a company, if we have UKGC licenses, we have Malta licenses, we're going after US licenses, we have access to Curacao, we're waiting for Canada to open up. This allows us to operate globally, right? And that's a mandate for us. We're not just one B2C platform in one jurisdiction. We want to be a global gaming company.
Okay, so essentially, Fans is on a path to be a global gaming company, both on the B2B and the B2C side.
Correct. Yeah, we'll strategically launch B2C platforms around the world, but definitely focus on the technology and being a B2B platform.
Okay. How long? When can you expect to receive the license? How much time does it usually take?
UK, always challenging to pick a date when you're dealing with regulators and the gaming commission, but our legal counsel is saying 8 to 10 weeks is a good kind of timeline to hope to get your licenses put through. So that's kind of where we're going at, but you never know when you're dealing with regulators.
Okay, that's actually pretty quick. 8 to 10 weeks from now, roughly.
Yeah, that's the goal, and I think our application was very strong. We have a pretty big team to be able to kind of put in a really, really, really strong application. So hopefully not too much feedback from them.
Okay, so I'm assuming that the people who are doing this, right, the attorneys, I mean, they've done this before. This is kind of like their specialty, is these gaming licenses.
Yeah, and we work with guys who've done it before. We have advisors who just focus on UK applications, and then our own team internally, our COO, our CEO, guys in Malta, they've gone through tier 1 jurisdictions licensing or many times in the past 10, 20 years. So this isn't kind of new for us. It's just kind of a different application process when you're dealing with different jurisdictions.
Okay. All right. So what do you think you can generate if in the UK let's call it once you hit the ground, let's assume you get approved by let's say May, right? Which is 10 weeks. Let's say the end of May. What kind of revenues do you think you can generate in the UK?
In the UK only, right now our main focus is the B2C platform, McBookie. So we had a goal from 2019 to 2020 to double their revenue. We were successful in doing that. We have a goal to more than double their revenue again this year. And in the first 60 days, we feel like we're on pace to do that. So a lot of opportunity on the B2C side with McBookie, and then there's gonna be a lot of cost savings on the B2B side, which is kind of what we're excited about as well. So exact numbers, not really throwing those out yet on the UK. Let's get our licenses. Let's see what kind of interest we get on the B2B side, and then we can circle back on that.
Okay. You and Scott are very conservative about giving projections. I always got to like squeeze things out of you. It's like I can never, So all right, so let's talk about.
We're accountants by trade, Jack. So I think 4 out of 5 of our executive team are actually accountants. So we are pretty conservative in nature. If we put a number out there, we want to make sure we hit it. The numbers we put out for 2020, we hit it. So the numbers we put out for 2021, we want to make sure we hit those too. We're not interested in just putting a hockey stick curve just to excite people. If we put a number out there, we want to make sure we hit those.
Okay, perfect. What about so you're going after you just so you applied for the UK gaming. That should be, let's say, the next 8-10 weeks. What other markets are you've applied for other markets right now also? Like which markets are you going to be in the next coming months?
Yeah, so the US is a big focus for us now, right? We entered, I guess, in September with a partnership with GameCo. We announced the first deal in Colorado with the Sky Youth Casino. And so that's going to be a big milestone for us to get them up and running. The goal is to get them up and running in the next few weeks, which will be huge. That'll be the kind of the first dedicated esports sportsbook in the entire US market. So that'll be a huge milestone for us. And as part of that, we decided to go after licensing in the US. So I think you saw the news releases. We signed up with IFRA Law, who's one of the preeminent gaming lawyers in the US market. So we signed up with him. We signed a partnership with OneComply to help streamline our licensing process. We're going after New Jersey first as a software supplier. And then once we get those, we'll look at other states, just depending on the kind of conversations we're having on the business development side. But New Jersey is the first one we're going after. Long process again, expected kind of timelines are 3 to 5 months from what we hear from our lawyers.
Okay. And so 3 to 5 months for New Jersey, and that's for the B2B side or only, or the B2C? What can you do in New Jersey?
Yeah, we're going after a software supplier license. So we want to do the back-end technology. Other operators who have a good brand or good kind of database of players, they can be the front, they can be the marketing engine. We want to be the technology behind the scenes.
Yeah, that probably makes sense because that's that's going to be a very competitive market. There's a lot of, everybody's fighting over that. I mean, they're pouring a lot of money into acquiring, customers or players, what have you. Now, when you have the software license, does that give you a percentage of the take also?
Yeah, so our business model is typically, we charge an upfront fee just to get them up and running. We do a monthly fixed fee, and then our upside is really untapped, uncappable, because we do a rev share. So, negotiated per deal, but as the company grows, we get to grow with them. And like you said, these B2C platforms, we don't have interest in launching a B2C brand and just spending hundreds of dollars on customer acquisition where their lifetime value is nowhere near that. We'll leave that to kind of the big guys, let them spend all those money and probably lose money. We want to be the guys behind the scene. Let's put the burden of marketing on those guys while we just take our cut every month on the fixed fees and the percentage of net gaming revenue.
Okay, so really, so it's actually very interesting. So basically, you're and this is the games. This is the RNG games, as you call them. What are you licensing to them? We're
licensing full sportsbook, so casino, esports betting, as well as traditional sports betting. So the full suite.
Okay. So but don't these guys usually have their own sports? Like, who would be your customers in New Jersey? Like, what kind of company? Like, it's not not a Caesars. I mean, who would be not a DraftKings? Who would be like a typical customer?
Well, really anyone who wants to launch a B2C brand, right? So, there's not too many skins left in New Jersey to launch a B2C brand, but there's opportunities from the technology side. There's not that many technology providers, especially in the US market. And for us as a company who's going to go and get New Jersey licenses, we're also going after GLI 33 standards, which are going to be the standards for the US market from a technology perspective. So we think we're going to have a kind of a great platform that's tested, that's audited, that's licensed, and there's not going to be too many of those out there. So we should have a good opportunity in New Jersey and then all the other states that we apply for as well. Once you get New Jersey, the rest are a little bit easier because we've already done the paperwork and spent kind of the months putting the application together.
Okay, yeah, I think before we started the interview, you were telling me all the questions they ask you, it's like a lot of,
It's crazy. Yeah.
it's like a long process. It's like okay, so basically, is New Jersey kind of the gold standard for game, like just like the way the UK is is New Jersey kind of like to get into other states and makes it much easier?
Yeah, New Jersey right now is for sure. They've kind of set the kind of footprint to get licensing in the US. I think they're the #1 state for betting volume right now. And we've seen numbers, I think the US has said 6 months straight, every month, the numbers have gone up across the states. So we're still in the infancy in the US market, right? Only half the states, I think 26 states have put forth legislation to legalize sports betting. Not all of them are doing it yet. We fully expect all of them to do it in the next couple of years. So it's still very, very early days in the US market. That's why we're going after the technical audits with GLI. That's why we're going after licensing, because we're still at the beginning of it.
Okay, and then you also have Canada, right? What's going on with Canada? They're allowing the betting on sports now, or the single games?
Yeah, so that was the first milestone, the single event sports betting. That needs to go through the Justice Committee and a couple other steps to pass that through. The next step for Canada, where we are excited about, is the first province, which they're saying Ontario, is going to open up to outside operators. So that, right, because right now all the operators are government. So once they open up to outside operators and allow other entities to come in and get licensed, that's where we think we can really have a good advantage. We're a Canadian company, we're a software company. We've never taken a bet from Canada. We're part of the Canadian Gaming Association. They're apparently looking at other tier 1 jurisdictions like Malta and the UK for licensing guidance, and we've gone through both of those. So we think we could be at the forefront of Canada as it opens up. We expect, they're saying by fall, we should expect to hear something. With regulators, you never know how long it's going to take, but we're hoping in 2021 it's going to open up to companies like ourselves.
Okay, no, it's very interesting. So like things are really like everything is opening up for sports betting. Now you have only in the U.S. only I know everybody's trying to it's in the process of, but only a handful of states actually have legal betting right now. I mean, they're expecting more, but how many actually have legal betting right now?
I don't know the exact now. I think it's closer to 12 or 13. Okay. 26 have put forth the legislation, but the rest of them are definitely working on it.
Okay. I think it's very important also to add that, okay, so basically, what you're doing is the RNG thing that you license. There's a lot of these guys, what all the analysts are really saying is that the sports betting business, I mean, the margins, it's just so competitive and the margins are so thin that really nobody's really going to make money on that stuff. What they're going to make money on is when people come into the thing, they're going to play the casino games, the online games, all that stuff, and that's where they have the big margins. That's what you do. You supply those games basically.
We supply, the entire back end, right? So once we supply a back end to an operator, we're not going out there and spending hundreds of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions to try to get customers. That's on the operator. We're just the guys behind the scene, right? That's where we think we can make a lot of money. Every client we get on really just compounds our revenue, which we're excited about. We're more like a SaaS-based business on the B2B side. Every client we bring on, our margins actually go up. So that's what we're excited about. US market is going to be a big one. Getting the Malta licenses allows us to operate in Europe. Getting the UK license allows us to operate in the UK. So our business development opportunities are going to be a bit endless, which is great. And we're still not really focused on biz dev. We're still getting so much inbound traffic on this that we don't need a biz dev team yet. We want to kind of sift through the inbound, get those guys up and running, sign some more contracts, and then we'll put a full sales team together to go after the market. Okay, so that's pretty good. I mean, you made a lot of progress. So in other words, like any sales you're doing right now is just stuff that comes in essentially referral or the transfer. You haven't even gone after business aggressively yet. Yeah. What is that going to happen? When are you going to start, doing that? Yeah, probably in the next few months. We want to sign a couple more deals here, get them up and running. We're very focused on the Colorado one right now, get them up and running. We're focused on the UK, of course. So there's a lot going on, behind the scenes. Guys are working, 12 hours a day right now to get these things up and running. And then we'll put together kind of the business development team, the sales team, probably in the next few months. Okay. All right, Jennifer has got 50,000 shares of fans. Darius, the pressure is on now. We got, we got to get, the stock needs to be $10 and not this, $1, $2 nonsense. We got to get the 100 baggers here. I want to just go to a couple of quick questions. If you can just clarify, you're talking about New Jersey, and I think just to clarify, you're not
you're not. I mean, you're doing both B2B and B2C. You're not selling off the betting business. The
Yeah, I wouldn't say we're shifting to tech. We've always been a tech company. We've been building tech for the last 7 years. Millions of dollars have gone into our tech. That's where we think is our big value. So we're not shifting to tech, but that's our way to get into the U.S. market. I guess that's the shift in the U.S. market.
Okay, so in other words, in the U.S., you're going to be primarily doing the B2B, the back end stuff. But still, the great thing about the B2B is you're still participating in the revenues. So you're like, it's sort of like I think Warren Buffett. He explains that he loves these businesses where you're the toll road collector. So you're getting that gross. He calls it a gross profit royalty on. Yeah. So essentially, you're getting a gross profit on royalty on the stuff that comes through there.
Yeah, he calls it kind of the flywheel effect. So yeah, absolutely. We're definitely focused on the B2B in the US, but the cool thing about owning your tech is you can launch brands very quickly anywhere in the world, as long as you kind of have the partners and the payments in place. So that's the cool thing about owning the tech. If we want to launch a brand like Vamos in Brazil, we're able to do that in 30 or 60 days, whereas guys who don't own the tech have to go through that process to find tech, license it, pay a whole bunch of money, get it up and running. We can be very nimble and very agile in that side of the business.
Okay, how much of an advantage does that give you, owning your own tech for the B2B? Like, because this business is still, it's still a real business. That you still have margins and all that stuff. It's not like people bet and you just make all this. So how much of an edge does that give you by having your own tech?
It gives us a huge edge. And then what we're seeing in the industry is a lot of consolidation. So a lot of the big players are going after and actually acquiring tech because they're realizing tech is king, right? We saw it with DraftKings acquiring SB Tech last year. We saw Bally's go out there and buy BetWorks. We saw GAN go and buy CoolBet. So a lot of people are going after the tech. They realize, that is key. A lot of our competitors are just B2C platforms. And so they're just spending a whole bunch of money on customer acquisition and losing a whole bunch of money, right? So it's a pretty big advantage. Some of our competitors are like, okay, we're going to go build our own software. Awesome. We'll see you in 2 or 3 years once you've done that, right? So that's kind of where we stand.
Okay. Let me go to a couple more questions. Esports. You were talking about esports in Colorado. Can you talk a little, like, what's going on with the esports? Give us the kind of the whole picture there.
Yeah. For those not familiar, we did the acquisition of Ascot last July because we wanted to have a big footprint in esports. They are pioneers in the esports space, been doing it well before a lot of people really knew what esports was. So our esports betting platform, the Chameleon platform that focuses a lot on esports, is one of the best in the world. It was nominated for Esports Platform Supplier of the Year. So we're big in esports. A lot of times we use that as a Trojan horse to get the conversation going with new operators that, hey, look at our world-class esports product. But we also do sports betting. We also do casino. So we're big in esports. The platform going up in Colorado with the Sky Youth Casino is an esports-only sportsbook. And then we have our own esports sportsbook platforms as well in like Brazil with Vamos. So definitely a big part of our business.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. The Euro Cup. What's going on? You're getting euros for the Euro Cup.
Yeah, definitely excited. We do have the McBookie brand in the UK, which is doing great, and it's doing great organically. We're still not spending a bunch of money marketing there, so I'm very excited about that brand. I think so far this year our customer acquisition cost there is about $27 Canadian, which is spectacular because we try and run that sportsbook at a profit, and we're able to do that. They've made the Euro Cup for the first time in decades, so big opportunity for us to actually market it. They're actually in a spectacular group from a marketing perspective, so we are prepping for the Euro Cup. We're still waiting on kind of the guidance on how the Euro Cup's going to work this year, but then we are definitely going to prep to put some money behind the Euro Cup and bring some more players into the McBookie platform. Okay,
so Darius, let's kind of cut to the chase here. What needs to happen for this to be a $10 stock from here? Like, can two parts. One is, can fans get $10, and what's the path to get there?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm obviously very bullish on what we're doing here at FansUnite, and the fundamentals, in the last 60 days has not changed, right? We're hard at work. We're behind the scenes doing a lot and executing, right? So how do we continue growing shareholder value? That's by execution, right? So we have arms of our business, the B2B, the B2C side, and we just need to execute. On the games division, we need to keep building games. We want to get to a suite of about 10 games by end of year. And not only just build games, but actually get those distributed. So we have signed the one deal with the ear aggregator that's getting integrated as we speak. right now. We need to sign more deals. So we want to get into over 1,000 different sports books. And again, take that rev share every time someone plays our game, and hopefully some of our games are really, really popular. On the B2B side, it's just about signing more deals, right? So as we get more global infrastructure from a licensing perspective, we want to keep signing deals. We want to bring on 1, 2, 5, 10 more clients, see that revenue start compounding. They're sticky contracts, right? They're 3-year contracts. We get to participate in the upside. So it's really unlimited upside on the B2B side. When we get clients and as they grow, we get to grow with them. On the B2C side, just keep growing our own platforms, right? So McBookie, we want to double the revenue again from last year to this year. So that's definitely a big focus. Other brands in Brazil, marketing has begun on those. We want to make sure those keep growing. And then be strategic on the B2B, on the B2C side. Look to launch new brands in niche markets where we think we can have a good footprint without having to spend a whole bunch of money on customer acquisition. So that's how we get to the kind of where we want to be as a company. And then definitely we're going to look to provide shareholder value through M&A activity, right? So with our team, with our board, we get access to a lot of deal flow, which is exciting. We get to see a lot of deals in the US market, around the world, ones that are for sale, even ones that aren't for sale that we'd like. We get to have those conversations because we can open the doors with some of the board members that we have. So that's definitely a big mandate for us this year. Keep looking at deals, find the ones we like, do more due diligence, and make sure it fits nicely with what we're trying to do here at FansUnite.
Okay. So speaking of M&A, what do you have anything? Because do you get a lot of stuff? Because we haven't talked about your board. You have some heavy hitters, on your board, or your advisors, etc. I don't know if you want to mention just them, and then we'll kind of dive into the M&A. But give us kind of, for anybody that's new, maybe you want to just give us a round of who you have.
Yeah, we have a very active board and a board members you don't typically see on companies of our size. As an example, we have Harish. Harish was the ex-president of Paddy Powered Betfair for Asia Pacific. That's Flutter Entertainment, which is the largest gaming company in the world, right? So he brings us huge opportunities globally, from launching new B2C brands, B2B opportunities, financings, M&A, government relationships. So he's amazing to have. Chris Grove on our board. He's one of the most well-recognized guys in the US gaming market from a regulatory standpoint. Started and sold multiple companies in the US market. He's a partner at Eilers & Krejcik. Started and has worked with some of the top execs of all the gaming companies in the US market. So every deal I feel like in the US market goes across his table, which is awesome. And we talk to him every single day. So we have a very, very active board. James Keen's on our board. He was a founding member of Paradise Poker. I think that was the 3rd largest poker site during the poker heyday. That sold to Sporting Bet. He was a managing director at Sporting Bet, and now he's a CEO of a social casino games company. So we have top-notch guys on the board, guys who've been in the industry for decades, tremendous amount of experience, and they're able to help us in all aspects of our business. And right now, definitely able to bring us good deal flow on the M&A side. Okay,
so you just said something which I just noticed. So the guy, what's the guy that he said that every deal in the sports betting business comes across his desk in the US, more or less?
Yeah, Chris Grove sees every deal, in our opinion, and he even brings us deals that he's like, hey guys, this company's not for sale, but there may be an opportunity. Do you want to dig a little bit deeper? So it's pretty amazing to have guys like that on the board. We were up late last night just talking to them, just looking at different deals and looking at different opportunities. Where do we want to expand? Which jurisdiction do we want to go after next? And what kind of value can they bring? So our executive team's pretty strong. Our board complements us, even better.
What kind of acquisitions would you be? Do you have anything like in mind? Like what would be the next most is there something missing? Is there like a piece that you want to add that would kind of fill out?
I wouldn't say anything's missing, but we're kind of looking. We do have a bit of a broad kind of net out there, so we're looking at opportunities to bring in more technology. So if we can bring in more technology into the Chameleon platform, that can open up the doors for our clients. We're definitely looking at adding new technology. We're looking at, can we find McBookie 2.0s, right? Companies where they operate in a niche market that have a good user base, that are generating revenue, that are generating cash flow, but we can come in with our team and our resources, not only grow top line, double the revenue, triple the revenues, but also save them a bunch of money on the bottom line by using our technology. So definitely looking at McBookie 2.0 type deals, sportsbooks and casinos. And we're looking again to the US market a little bit more. So companies have established roots there, companies maybe are licensed, companies have a good user base that we think we can turn on for the sports betting. So anyway, we can kind of bring in revenues, bring in cash flow, bring in technology into the business. We're looking at all those opportunities.
Okay, so it's interesting from an M&A standpoint. Like right now, look, I mean, the stock market, it's taking a bit of a beating. A lot of stocks in the sector are down, 50%. Well, across the board, everything there's like a sale going on. But at the same time, and you're in a great cash position. You just recently raised a bunch of cash. In terms of from M&A standpoint, obviously any deals out there, the prices would be lower now. Everything is kind of adjusted to the market to market,
Yeah.
and so there's less, a little bit less exits for them. For this is what's the cash position? Or would you use cash? What would you use? Stock, cash? Like how would you?
Yeah, I would say definitely a good opportunity. I mean, you never want to see your own stock go down, and you never want to see other companies, stock go down. But we think we're definitely in a good position, right? Our fundamentals of our business haven't changed. We're still executing, growing internally. We're cashed up. We have over 15 million of cash in the bank. Our burn is not very high, so we have a good opportunity right now to look at deals that, like you said, their valuations have come down significantly. Maybe they're not in as good of a cash position as they thought they were. So it might be opportunities for us to go in there and scoop some assets up for a lot cheaper than maybe we thought. And then any deal we look to do, we'll negotiate it and figure out what's best for shareholders, whether that's some cash, whether it's stock, whether it's a mixture of both. We're going to look at all types of, I guess, structure-wise.
Okay, so do you have any deals like on the table right now? Like what stage like your pipeline is in? I don't know if you could say it or not, but like is something like are you in talks? Are you what's the stage?
Yeah, I'm definitely got to be careful with what I say, but I guess I would say we see a lot of deals. We're sifting through the deals and kind of narrowing down the ones that we like, and then trying to do a little bit more due diligence on those and making sure that they strategically fit in what we're doing with FansUnite now and what we're trying to do in the future.
Okay, let's jump to some questions. Okay, let's go Scotland. What is that? Scotland what are they doing? They're doing.
That's the I guess same guy who asked about the Euros. So Scotland's going into the Euros. So big one for us. If they can, if they can even win a game or advance to the next round, I think that'd be huge for our brand.
Okay, that's the soccer, right? The football.
That's soccer, yeah, the Euro Cup.
Okay, let's see. So, okay, questions. I think we kind of touched about we got maybe some people coming in late. How much revenue can you talk about what you expect from the UK?
Yeah, we don't have too many projections publicly in regards to the UK market. Our goal this year is to generate, we'd like to get about 4 million from the UK market from our B2C platforms.
Okay. While waiting for the Jersey license, would fans expect any other revenues from the US?
Yeah, so the next big milestone for us in the US market is the Colorado Esports sportsbook. So that's a deal we signed in December with the Sky Ute Casino, the Southern Ute tribe in Colorado. So that activation is going live fairly shortly here. We're trying to get it up in March. That'll be, the very first dedicated esports sportsbook in the entire US market. So that'll be the first revenue opportunity for us. And that's already opened up the doors to discussions with other casinos in other states. And once it goes live and up and running, I think there'll be kind of good PR around that for sure.
Okay, that's actually very interesting. Wait, so this, it's kind of a big deal, actually. We said it so long ago, it's kind of like people get immune to it now. So in the next couple of weeks, bottom line is the next couple of weeks, you're going to have the first esports betting book in the US.
That's the goal. Our dev team is working around the clock right now. I know a lot of people don't see that from the outside, but everyone is heads down focused on this. This is a big milestone for us. We want to get it up and running as soon as we can. Anytime you're dealing with a regulated jurisdiction, especially like Colorado, they only opened up online sports betting in May. They're still learning as they go. So we're still adding a lot of things that they were requiring us to add. We're trying to make sure it's obviously perfectly regulated, compliance, geo-comply, only residents and people in the state of Colorado can play. So a lot goes into these things. We're working pretty hard. We'd like to get it up in March. That's kind of our goal.
Okay. And okay. So, but this is essentially, it could be live at the end of the month. Basically, we're in March already, so it could be live at the end of the month.
That's our goal, and we'll definitely keep investors and prospective investors updated as we progress on that one. But that's a big milestone for us.
And they're going to be betting on what kind of stuff can they bet on?
Esports. Yeah.
What are the type of bets they can do?
Yeah, the majority of betting on esports comes from the kind of the three biggest ones: League of Legends, Counter-Strike, and Dota. So that's going to be the majority of the betting that's coming in on esports, because this is just a dedicated esports brand for the Sky Ute Casino.
Okay. But so there's a possibility that there's going to be other casinos that are going to say, wow, this looks pretty good. Let's contact FansUnite and get our own esports book.
Yeah, that's the goal. And for us, it's yes, we can service you for esports, but we can also service you on traditional sports and casino as well, right? So we want to be that full suite. We want to have 0 exit points when we talk to a client. So can we get you up and running from everything you need to launch an entire online gaming brand?
Okay. Let's see. Just a couple of technical questions here. Shares outstanding. Is this about this? What is 70 million roughly?
That's not correct. We just had some warrants clear out, but I think we're closer to 190 million shares outstanding on a non-diluted basis.
190.
190. That's about sorry, just over 180 actually. That's about where we're at right now.
Wait.
180.
180. Okay, 180 million outstanding, fully diluted. Okay.
Yeah.
So 180 million bucks. What's and I can't get you to make a projection for this year revenues. You're not going to say anything.
Revenue wise, we have put projections out before. We had analyst coverage, and we did put out some revenue projections. Our goal was to get between 4 and 5 million this year, and next year we're trying to get around 14 to 15, where we think we can be cash flow positive at that point. Now, none of this includes any ramps ups, any kind of big marketing spends, and it doesn't include any M&A. This is just growing our own internal assets. That's where we would like to get to, but of course, we'd like to get those even higher through M&A transactions.
Okay. The one thing I found very interesting is, one of your goals is to get in your games, these 10 games that you want to have at the end of the year, into 1,000 sports books.
Yes.
Right. And I know every time I've had you guys on for the last, let's say, couple times, I've had you run through the numbers, the way that works. In other words, like you can make X amount per game if it's a successful game, and you multiply that by all those, and that comes in every month. So can you just run through those numbers, because those are pretty impressive numbers.
Yeah, so we have 4 games pretty much done right now. Our 5th game is underway. Again, sorry, the 4th one's going through testing. 5th one's underway. We'd like to get to a suite of 10 games by end of year. That's our goal. And then we'd like to distribute them not only on our own sports books, but of course through other distribution channels. So the first distribution partner, the ear aggregator, they have access to 120 different sports books with a single switch. So we're just going through that integration right now. Once that's done, any other casinos can turn on our games, which is going to be great. Once we get to game 5 completed, that's when we're going to work on business development, go after other aggregators, try to get our games into another few hundred here and there, try to get to 1,000 games. And then these games, for us, it's kind of a bit of a rev share model, right? So the games are built on an RNG. Depending on what jurisdictions you operate in, they have guaranteed RTPs, what they call return to players. So that's anywhere between 95% to 97.5% go back to players. So that kind of margin of 2.5 to 4% is what we get back as a company. We split that with the operator who's actually playing our games. So it's a rev share on those. We take some of that. The casino takes some of that. So some of our games are popular and people are playing. Every spin we're making money, which is exciting for us. So we want to get our games into as many sportsbooks as we can. A, build them. B, sign those contracts. 3, integrate them. And then hopefully these games turn on in thousands of sportsbooks. Okay,
I think if you also talk about like the monthly revenues that you can get per game, per casino, right? Per place, right? I mean, there's some pretty impressive numbers.
It definitely can be. We don't project much on the game side right now, but we definitely are excited about it. It's the newest part of our business, but potentially the most exciting part of our business, as some of these games can generate a significant amount of revenue if they're popular and they're turned on in hundreds of sportsbooks.
Okay, so how much can a game generate per casino if it's like, let's not say popular, but let's say it's not on a scale of 1 to 10, if it's a 5, what can it generate?
We don't know yet. We will definitely, once we get these games in and once we start seeing them getting played, we'll be able to update our projections and let people know. But popular games are they can generate 6 figures for a company. We just don't know yet what they're going to do. So as we get them more into the aggregators, as they turn on and people start playing them, we'll be able to update our projections. The revenue projections we have right now don't really include the games.
Okay, so let me kind of look at the low end, right? Let's say you have 10 games, right? Let's say each game only makes 10 grand a month per sports book. So it's 100 grand per month. That's your cut. That's a very low number. And you multiply that, you want to get 1,000 sportsbooks. So let's say you only get 100. So I'm chopping everything by 90%. So you get 100 guys paying you 100 grand a month. What is that? You're an accountant. What is it? 10 million?
100 guys doing 100 grand, yeah.
Yeah, it's 10 million a month.
We'll definitely see. We'll definitely update people as those games turn on. I know everyone's excited about how much these games can generate. But let's get them up and running. Let's get them integrated. We'll definitely update the market when they do complete that integration.
75%. So even if it's not, let's say it goes to 2 million a month. So this is on top of what you're saying now. So 25 million from these 100 guys, right? From 100 sports books. So you're getting down to like very low numbers. So 25 million a year revenues. This is all pretty much pure profit at this point. That's all.
The games, once they're built, it is really just profit after that. We do maintain the games, but once they're built, they're profitable once they go into these casino aggregators. So the games don't cost us that much money to make, anywhere from say 70 grand to 250 grand for some of the bigger games and bigger concepts that we're doing. So once those are built, it's minimal costs, especially once you get into an aggregator.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. I mean, there is a possibility where you could be, I mean, like I'm chopping even further. Let's say it's only 10 million that you're getting to the bottom line. So that's, in this type of business, that new revenue stream could be worth, 500 million valuation, adding on top of what you have now. Yeah,
on the multiples that you're getting on the gaming space, absolutely, you can get high multiples. The revenue projections that we put out are again mostly on B2B and B2C. So we're not really projecting those numbers yet in our casino games, but once we do, we'll be pretty excited.
Christopher says that's Scott spilled the beans on the model, on the revenue model.
Well, the revenue models is what I mentioned, just the rev share on and the return to player. Okay. What they can generate, yeah, we're not sure.
What's a couple of people ask? What's the percentage of ownership of the the outstanding, the 180 million right now?
Yeah, about 11 million shares or 12 million shares are inside ownership, and you'll see Scott and myself. We haven't sold a single share. We're long term here. We voluntarily locked up our own stock, but we haven't sold a single share, and we have no plans to do that anytime soon.
Okay. What about if the stock goes to $10? Would you sell some then?
So we have big vision here. We think we can get to where a lot of our competitors are, right? So right now we're just focused on execution. I think the stock will hopefully follow the milestones we hit, the revenue figures we hit. Every milestone we put out there, we'd like to hit those. We hope the business and the stock will follow. Right now we have zero intention of selling stock.
You're saying so let me get that clear. You're saying your goal is to get to where your competitors, some of your bigger competitors are.
We think we have every opportunity to. When we look at ourselves against some of our competitors.
For example, who would you say is in that kind of universe?
We're looking at all of them, really, in the U.S. market. Companies like The Score, companies like DraftKings, companies like Entain. These type of guys, we want to go after those guys. We think we have a great team. We have the technology. We're trying to get validation. If we can execute on an M&A plan, we see no reason why we can't play with those type of guys in the space.
Okay. How long do you think it would take you to get there? Let's say even The Score. The Score is not that big. I think they hit $1 billion market cap though recently. Like, how long?
I think before the kind of the cool off here in the last couple of weeks, they were over $2 billion as a market cap.
Okay. Okay. So it's interesting. So that's actually a kind of a good target. Like how far off are you from being like a Score? Like how far? Like what would you need to do to get to that range?
Just again execute, right? So. They're focused on the U.S. market. I think they're in 4 states now. Different model. Again, they're going after the B2C market, so spending a lot of money on customer acquisition, and they operate on someone else's technology. So for us, is again, we own the tech. We operate globally. We're going to be in the U.S. markets, but we're going to be in the UK. We're going to be in Europe. We're going to be in Latin America. So we think we have a global infrastructure. We have multiple arms to the business, not just B2C platforms, and we have B2B as well as we have our game content studio. So we don't think we're as far off as people think we are to some of our peers. Okay, so so essentially, fans could be a let's say $1 billion+ valuation, in a year, 2 years, 6 months. Those are our goals, of course. Like we just want to execute on the business, and I think the stock will follow.
Okay. Last question. I'm going to wrap up this. I think you talked about just get people. Okay, the UK license. Once you have that, again, just you just want to repeat, what is that going to do for the bottom?
Sorry, do you mind bringing that up again?
What does your own UK license do?
Yeah, it's big. It's big. They operate on someone else's technology right now. So once you get your license as a B2B software provider, it will open up the opportunity if we want to put in our own technology into our own assets. It will save, we're projecting over 7 figures to the bottom line.
Okay, to the bottom line.
The bottom line.
To the bottom line. Okay, so bottom line is earnings. 7 figures is $1 million plus. That's okay. So you can get to some decent numbers.
They pay pretty high fees. Any operator who operates on someone else's technology pays pretty high fees. It's pretty expensive to operate on someone else's tech. That's why we're excited about owning the tech. And then if we have assets in certain jurisdictions and we can switch their tech out to our own, it's great because not only are we growing top line revenue year over year, we're going to be able to save them the whole time to their bottom line.
Okay, Darius. So let's wrap up. What else do you have? What kind of milestones do you have coming up the next month or so that investors can keep an eye on?
Yep, we just did the UK one, right? So we're excited about that. We'll keep everyone updated on the US markets as we go through the licensing in New Jersey. Big milestone next for us is getting the Colorado sportsbook up with the Sky Casino. So working pretty hard on getting that one up. More clients on the B2B side. We're definitely heads down, focused on that, having good conversations there. And then again, aggressive on our M&A strategy.
Okay, fantastic. Darius, thank you again for joining us. Thank you everybody for joining today's live stream. Hope to have you next time. Hopefully the stock will be cooperating better. Hopefully the markets will be a little more calm the next couple of weeks.
That sounds good. Thanks for having me, Jack.